Yes, people, and welcome back to another video on the YouTube channel where we bring you all things Chelsea. We're back. I took a good old month and a half off. Obviously, had to do some random stuff, but listen, we know what we're here for today. I'm back again. Probably should be on regular scheduling too. Listen, you see my little thumbnail right there. You know what I mean? Always winning. You know what I mean? I knew eventually you had to go, but it seems today, obviously, the big, great breaking news for me. Yeah, Chelsea have parted ways with Mauricio Pochettino. You know what I mean? Mutually, but truly speaking, basically Chelsea have said they do not want Poch. They basically sacked him. Now I'm gonna just literally bring up the actual statement that they've brought up by Chelsea. And listen, at the end of the day, I feel like we're gonna obviously go through the manager list. The manager list here is not looking too great either. But hey, man, it is what it is. We move on that one still, but let me just present this to you guys so that you can see. Uh, you know what? Does it not want to work for me right now? But listen, man, I want to hear obviously your thoughts. Are you happy about Poch getting sacked? Of course. Listen, um, there were multiple times in this season where I had said, if we're being well and truly honest, he should have been sacked a long time ago, right? And the fact that he's only been sacked now, it's kind of crazy to me. I'll be very honest with you guys at the end of the day. But listen, he's been sacked. At the end of the day, he's been sacked. This is just like, I'm going to read this quickly because I think it's quite a nice thing to read. It says Chelsea FC can confirm that the club and Mauricio Pochettino have mutually agreed to part ways. Sporting director Lawrence Stewart and Paul Stanley said, on behalf of everyone at Chelsea, we would like to express our gratitude to Mauricio for his service this season. He will be welcomed back at Stamford, but he'll be welcomed back to Stamford Bridge anytime, and we wish him all the very best in his future coaching career. Mauricio Pochettino said, thank you to the Chelsea ownership group and sporting directors for the opportunity to be part of this football club's history. The club is now well positioned to keep moving forward in the Premier League and Europe in the years to come. I think that's pretty much what we need to say. Obviously, his fellow guys have also left too, which are Jesus Perez, Miguel De Agostini, Tony Jimenez, and Sebastiano Pochettino, which I believe is also, I think he's his son, if I'm not mistaken, actually, funnily enough. But I don't want to actually go into nitty gritty, so I've literally got pies loaded up for us. Again, Joe, big up. Joe, you're right. Joe, I said this before. If we're being honest, there was October, he should have been sacked in. There was November, there was a section in November where he should have been sacked in. There was December, there was a point in December, I was like, he should be getting sacked. There was even a point in February where he should have been sacked. You know what I mean? But, the problem was, I was thinking from a big club Roman mentality, where we sack these guys automatically straight away, after they hit a certain amount of losses. But the reality was that wasn't the case. The club clearly weren't gonna, do the little thing of like getting this guy sacked, getting this guy removed at those moment in times. And part of it was because they were at the very least thinking, oh, this is a young squad, maybe, they're still building everything like that. But there were points in that season, where he should have been gone. He should have just been gone. Simple as that. But that kind of annoyed me a lot, man, because he should have been gone so much sooner. Now, you gotta talk about the Manda stuff, because like I can't lie to you, some of the stuff that's coming out by that one, I have a lot of reservations for. But I want to actually talk about, I actually want to talk about something. I agree with that one too, Joe, by the way. But I actually want to talk about something else. Now, one of the things that, I was hearing, obviously yesterday and the day before in regards to Poch himself and other stuff like that is that there's been this, idea that, Pochettino essentially, we need to keep him. He's the stuff and rolling, he's got to keep the squad together, the stuff and brewing and everything like that. The problem for me that I had with that is that a lot of these people would also say that he's probably going to get sacked next season. So for me, the question I always have is, if you already believe that mid-season, next season is going to get sacked, and you don't believe in his tactics in his school of thought, why should we keep him now then? Because for me, it doesn't make sense. What is necessarily going to change, between right now, we are in the 21st of May, 2024, and let's say the 21st of October, 2024, when he gets sacked, hypothetically speaking, if you were to keep him. Nothing much would change. So for me, again, the only thing that might change the manager market may actually get even smaller. You know, there'll be less free agents for you to get. Probably be even harder for you to get maybe the ideal manager that, you know, with Stanley or Stewart may want, right? So I think for me, from that school of thought, you know, there's no point of keeping him. If you already believe he's going to get sacked mid-season, no point of keeping him now. And for me, and this is something I will repeat again, yeah, it's the current pool of managers anyway is very hypothetical. And what I mean by hypothetical is that we don't know whether or not these guys are gonna shoot to the stars or if these guys are gonna be automatic duds. And a lot of the time, especially when you're picking up these new upper current managers, it's a very high chance that these guys, they ain't got it. You know what I mean? They ain't got that mentality, that ability to, you know, take that step forward to the next level. It's a big step at the end of the day, you know, whether, for example, it's Thomas Frank going from a Brentford, you know, where maybe where you don't really have that much expectations, to a Chelsea where the expectations are automatically high. The fact that the club are already telling these guys that the next guy they're bringing in, we want a UCL qualification at a minimum, yeah, and trophies, yeah, you are putting instant pressure on this guy. You're putting instant pressure on this guy. And the thing for me is, yeah, the guys we are bringing in, the guys we are planning to bring in, yeah, that pressure is going to be on them from day dot. And I don't know with the current crop of guys that we're looking at if they're going to be having that. And I hear what you're saying, Joe. The problem with the proven manager school of thought here is this. Right now, who is that? That's the question. For me, they're not going to go for, even though I'm not a big fan of him and in Tuchel, with his management style. Tuchel, the problem with him specifically is that the management issue for me. I don't know if that's going to work out well for you. I still think for me, in the league, Tuchel, when he's doing league football, he's not as effective as maybe getting you an FA Cup, a Carabao Cup, maybe a Europa League, right? He could get, I think Tuchel for sure can get you top 4 though. That's one guy. Mourinho, I'm sorry, Kalas, man. My brother, he needs to move on. He needs to move on. Now, I've seen already, Joe was saying, Hansi Flick. I cannot take Hansi Flick as a manager precisely because I've seen that guy's in action on that documentary on Amazon. I always tell people who watch me or watch me on this channel or even on Casually FC, that if you actually look at it, if you actually look, at the man and look at that documentary for the German World Cup, 2020 in Qatar, it was bad, bro. His management style, bro, I don't think it would work, honestly, and it's not, as elite as I was expecting. For me personally, though. That's my opinion. You then go on to those are like the only elite managers I would say out there right now. Obviously, Xavi Alonso. I can't really call him. Yes, he's had a really great season. He's done, but he's not necessarily elite, right? So there's that. Amorim, he's a good. The problem Amorim, I think, is a good coach. The issue for me with Amorim is that I don't necessarily think we have the pieces at the club right now. You got what I'm saying to you? We don't have the pieces right now for a guy like Amorim at this football club. Because obviously he would want to go to a back three. He would want that sort of style of play. So there's that to consider too. Now, any other elite managers you guys can tell me? I don't know. But I think I've pretty much wrote out the list. You know what I mean? Obviously, we know Zidane's not coming to this football club, by the way. I'm not even considering Zidane because this guy, he just wants to do something abroad. So whether or not he chooses to go somewhere or not, so that's it. But one thing I will not accept here is that this idea that Poch was doing bad for this football club, by the way. He was not doing great for this football club. The last 5 games of the season is when he decided to play, for his job and be tactically, astute. That's when he decided to do a good job. That's it. So, whether people want to admit or not, that's just the reality. So, Oliver, I've obviously got you on. Bro, obviously, how are you? Hope you're doing well. And listen, tell me about how you feeling, obviously, about this news about Poch.
Can't say I didn't expect it, to be honest. I mean, we saw the briefing that happened yesterday. It was like a briefing war between the Poch camp and the Chelsea camp. So there was definitely some sort of struggle going on there, whether the meeting happened yesterday or whatever the case may be. And you look at Poch's press conference comments as well. There was clearly an element of tension there, and you could tell throughout the whole season as well that he wanted like tall players, he wanted more transfer control, etc. And at the end of the day, you know, whether you're surprised or not, the fact of the matter is this has happened because the club stuck by their principles of not wanting to relinquish too much transfer control. So I do admire that in an aspect because I listen, and people want to run the yes man narrative. This is modern football, so get used to it. Carlo Ancelotti operates under these conditions. Sure, he has
100%.
Carlo Ancelotti has a better quality of player than Chelsea have right now. But the fact of the matter is, he takes what he's given and he meets his objectives. Our objective this season was to make top four and, you know, win a trophy. And we failed at both when both were easily attainable when you look at things from hindsight.
100%.
So, yeah, I mean, my head's a bit on Mars just because, you know, I'm getting, you know, all the journalists are on overdrive right now. We're seeing all these names. So I'm just trying to basically react to it as all of you are pretty much, you know. That's
Fair
where I'm
enough.
at right now. Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring this one up quickly. Guys, let me know if you can see this properly or not. If you want me to increase, I always can. I always can. Bloody hell, my English. So obviously this happened 2 hours ago. Literally, it was literally they sacked him at 7 p.m. roughly, somewhere around about then. Obviously, the new managers that are being considered according to Matt Law is Sebastian Hoeneß, Michel, Kieran McKenna, and Enzo Maresca. Now, Enzo Maresca is the Leicester City manager. Kieran McKenna, obviously, is the Ipswich manager. Michel, is that the Girona manager, I'm assuming, no?
I believe so, yeah. I believe he is.
Yeah, he's the... And obviously, Sebastian Hoeneß is the Stuttgart manager. Now, all of these guys, you know, all three of these guys have had great seasons. The problem for me is that, you know, is that going to obviously move on to even better experience, right? Hoeneß had a really great season with Stuttgart, getting them second in the league. Michel, obviously, I think he got them third in the league, if I'm not mistaken, in La Liga. Kieran McKenna, obviously, he's managed to get second place and promote Ipswich Town. Enzo Maresca, obviously, with Leicester City, getting them first place, if I'm not mistaken, too. So, all of these guys have done different things. The problem for me is that I think with both Kieran McKenna and Enzo Maresca, I just don't know if that jump from the Championship football to Chelsea straight away is going to be ideal, because I don't know if they're going to be able to take that step. It's a big leap. It's a bigger leap here than some of the people who do even want Thomas Frank, who's been in the league and it's been like a mid-table club. So for me, I'm just not on this wave of Championship straight to EPL. That's why for me personally, even though listen, I don't know how talented McKenna is or Enzo is. Respectfully, you two, I can't, you know. I can't see it, you know, being as fluid as many people would like to believe from McKenna and Enzo Maresca, personally. So those two in particular, no thank you. Now, hey, big up Stephanie. I hope you're doing well too. I'm doing great. Sebastian Hoeneß, obviously, he's had a great season in Germany. Obviously, German managers, they're going to be very tactical, very astute in what they do. Again, the question for me is, with him, much like everything, is he a one-season wonder? Or is he going to be able to implement his tactics at Chelsea? So, same with Michel, by the way. Michel and him are in similar boats. But I know a lot of people think that obviously Hoeneß is the best option right now, and I would personally agree. But what are your thoughts on those four in particular?
I agree with you pretty much. So like this whole expectation for like top four and a trophy or just top four, whatever they're saying. Like the worry for me is you look at McKenna, like Ipswich went straight from like they got promoted this season, didn't they? From League One.
Yes.
And they went straight up to the they spent one season in the Championship to the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Kieran McKenna wasn't expected to get promoted to the Premier League. I'm looking at the Bundesliga table right now for the 2022 season. Stuttgart finished 16th place. Sebastian Hoeneß, as much as I've heard great things about him, and he seems, from what I've read and seen, he seems like a good manager. No one was expecting him to finish second in the Bundesliga. And there are many more cases. I mean, Enzo, the Leicester manager, this is currently his first ever season as manager. He left the City coaching team in the summer to join this club. So there's not enough experience there. And plus,
of course,
and even if you want to give Enzo credit for them getting promoted, that squad is Premier League level. They shouldn't have even got relegated in the first place. And they somehow managed to retain some pretty decent players like Dewsbury Hall. So that is a Premier League level squad. So if anything, there shouldn't have even the expectations. Like even if you crumble under the expectations as a manager at that club, your players are still good enough to carry it by themselves. It's almost like they don't need a manager because they're too good. So I'm just looking at this and I'm like, okay, well, none of you, and this includes Thomas Frank as well. None of you have ever competed top four, and none of you have ever been asked to get top four. So how am I supposed to expect both to happen if you're the new manager? That's where it doesn't make sense.
For me, the problem becomes the leap here. Just in general, I'm gonna use Thomas Frank as an example because he's an easy example to use. The leap just from being a mid-table manager, by the way, to going to a top club that is expecting minimum UCL and a trophy, it's a big leap, bro. That pressure that's gonna be on you day one, and I don't know if Thomas Frank handle that pressure, for example. Can Sebastian Hoeneß, where he's not really expected to be doing the stuff he's doing at Stuttgart, can he handle that in the EPL? And that's the thing. I think a lot of people don't understand. Yeah, expectation, by the way, is a big thing. You know what I mean? Expectation. When you have expectations put on you in any job, yeah. For example, for me, when it's as I work as a civil engineer, right? That expectation that's on you to do your job correctly is a big pressure. Depending on if you're a manager, if you're an assistant manager, it doesn't any random job. So it's big pressure. So again, we gotta obviously wait and see. Obviously, I'm gonna continue on to see because there's some other options that are saying that are even better or anything like that. Big up to Tao TV. He says Girona manager is for him. Fair enough. I think we will dip into the Brighton pool again, and DBZ will get credit for all of Poch's hard work. You know what, Thomas? Maybe not. I don't know, man. I haven't heard that much on RDZ in the reports, but obviously we've got to continue reading them now anyway. So we'll see what happens. But big up, Chris. What are your thoughts on Pochettino getting the sack?
I mean, it's deserved. It's obviously deserved, but I'm still a little bit worried because there's not a whole lot of managers out there, let's be honest. And apparently we're looking for young managers, and we see Cesc Fabregas at Chelsea. It's a little bit worrying, I would say. So I'm thinking, yeah, we need to get rid of Poch. I don't have faith in Poch for next season still. I don't. Even if we get Europa League spot, he should have got top 4 this season, so it's fully deserved. Yeah, bring me. I would say bring me experienced manager though. I want that.
Do you know where it is though, Chris? Yeah, and this is often. I don't know, Oliver, if you had my rant just before you came on. Yeah, I was getting annoyed that a lot of people are saying keep Poch, yeah, but we don't believe in him next season. He's probably gonna get sacked next season. So for me, why are we keeping him if we're gonna probably sack him in October or November?
Well, it depends how much you trust him. Like there are people like we disagree with this. Obviously, there are people that trust Poch based on the recent run. People like us don't trust him, and that's the only.
No. But what they're saying, Oliver, is they're saying they trust him to keep him for the time being, but they believe he's gonna get sacked next season, though.
That's ridiculous. Okay.
No, but that's what a lot of people are saying. A lot of people are saying that. And for me, the issue is if you truly believe let's keep him for the time being because of the manager pool, but we're gonna sack him midway next season. What difference is that gonna make? Because for me, the pool is probably gonna get even smaller.
It's gonna, exactly.
Right now. The pool's gonna get smaller even right now. We may be in a worse position than we are last time as well. So why do you think that's gonna be a good thing?
Plus, I don't want to build a team around Pochettino as well. I just don't want to do that.
Well, that's another thing we've been seeing, and this is actually where I do have to commend the club a little bit on this because they're saying how they want a manager who's like he wants to play possession-based football. He wants to be able to control games and be shored up defensively. And the fact that if we're assuming that this isn't a mutual thing and they've actually sacked Pochettino, this idea for what they want as the manager matches what this matches the fact that they've sacked Poch, because Poch doesn't try and keep the ball very well. I know he does it, but that's because we're a good team and we have good players. That's player quality.
Exactly.
And then and our defense, we've had our worst ever Premier League season defensively. So, he didn't meet the requirements, quite simply.
Exactly.
Both stylistically, both in terms of like the achievements. It's not there. But there are criticisms for the club as well, and I'm sure we'll get to that. So just
100%, bro.
Don't jump down my throat on that one, because Poch is almost as much to blame as the club in some aspects.
110%. Let's continue reading. I think Poch and the club will be better for the next manager. Yeah, fair enough then. Big up to Thomas Bays for that comment. Interesting comment indeed. He says, so this is according to Matt Law's article here. In the view of key figures at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea season viewed as a whole fell short of pre-season expectations and raised issues such as the crippling injury list, which we've spoken about him and his how shall I say his
I would
training.
like to see video proof what he actually did. Did he just do crunching tackles on Lavia? And I don't know who else.
Oh my god! What? Poch is getting stuck in? Yeah, Poch getting stuck in.
Poch getting stuck in. I don't know what happened, because Lavia was like 30. He's played only 37 minutes this season, or
he played 2,000 minutes in the league last
season. Who?
Lavia. He played 2,000 minutes, the most of any for Southampton.
Oh! I think you meant for Chelsea. I think, huh?
No. This is the thing, right? Because he played the most minutes in his age range in the Premier League last season.
Mm-hmm.
And just in general, there have been so many players that we've never seen get injured, or very few injuries. They're falling apart now. Like, are we not seeing the correlation?
Yeah, I don't think I blame him for Nkunku, because Nkunku had that big injury. That's the only one, and obviously probably Reece James and Fofana, but the rest, what happened to Chalobah? Like, Chalobah is one of them. I'm thinking, what happened to that guy? That guy was injured for so long.
Chris, it's like I said, you blame him for everyone that does not have a prior history with injuries. James and Fofana have prior histories, so you accept that as, that's just them. That's being fair about it.
Even Sanchez got injured at training. Actually, I want to know what happened to
Poch
Sanchez.
played him injured. He got injured against United in the game where we kind of all turned Poch out. And then he started him the next game against Everton. He had to come off.
Okay,
he hurt his leg.
Yeah,
he hurt his leg in the United game. That's what the report was. People are going to forget about that.
I don't understand why he didn't trust Petrovic, and that made no sense.
Oh my god, Joe, that's a crazy comment, by the way. I just read that comment. Moving on, Chelsea are targeting a young progressive coach, as we've spoken about previously. There was this is Matt Law, paragraph, it's hella confusing, by the way, Look what he says. There was no disagreements over who should be in charge of transfers or which players should or should not be sold. The differences are explained as much being more philosophical and relate to the dynamics of working within a club structure. So, according to Matt Law, the issues that he had, that Poch and the club had, were more to do with if it's philosophical, it must mean tactics that he's using, and then the way that him and the sporting directors work together, essentially. Which
tactics and recruitment. That's what it is.
Yeah. So I don't understand why he said who should be in charge of transfers or which players should or should not be sold. Because then how does that work then?
Here's the problem I have with all this though. Just reading all this stuff. Where did we get it wrong? Where the sporting directors, and this is where I'm going to criticize the club now. The sporting directors were interviewing for 2 months after Graham Potter got sacked. How do we not figure out that this guy wants transfer control? Because we've always been on the thing ever since we got sporting directors. It's been this is a recruitment department. They're doing the transfers. Potter didn't get an input in the January window that he had, and it's going to be the same thing for every manager. when we were looking at Enrique, he got annoyed that we weren't going to give him transfer control. So it was very clear in the process that that's what it was going to be like. So why do we hire a manager that's fundamentally the opposite to everything that we want?
100%. 100%, bro.
That's where Winstanley and Stewart, like, this is a disgraceful appointment from them, and they've got their futures have to come into question now.
That's why, for me, you have to look at these guys. They had well over 2 months. They could have spoken to as many managers as they wanted. Know what each told them. This is what we want. This, and this. Will you do that? Yes or no? And the thing for me also is, I feel like there must be also something of like I think of where Poch maybe initially signed up to it and then decided that he didn't like it. I think that might also be the case too. By the way. If I'm trying to give them any leeway as possible, which for me, was not good.
But again, then why didn't we sack him? Because we finished 5 points off the top 4. A sacking would have gotten us top 4. That's
what you have to criticize them, bro. That's what's confused me too. Like if he's going against the philosophy that you guys wanted, which is clearly like what's been happening towards the end of the season, why did you not speak to him soon about that?
I have no idea with that one, but like maybe there was no option.
Because Adrian is right. Adrian, by the way, big up to Adrian, yeah. It's because Poch tried to get position-based players to become. Yes, that's what we were doing for the vast amount of times. That's what was happening.
Bro, he turned Enzo into a runner. He turned Colwell into a left back.
Don't forget Chilwell at left wing.
Oh my god! Now Chilwell's not even a possession-based player though, so I don't care about that. I'm talking about like actual ballers. You made Colwell a left back. Come on, man. What are we doing here? You built your midfield around Gallagher.
That is 100% correct. And like internal meeting decided that players are disappointed Pochettino left. I'm sorry to tell you, I don't care. I don't care. You know, at the end of the day, we employ them. You know what I mean? If the ownership would happen to the manager, bring in a new guy that's going to be able to get the best out of them. Simple as that, man.
The players sign contracts for Chelsea Football Club, not for Mauricio Pochettino.
Exactly.
That's the thing that everyone has to understand here.
Who's that?
And the other thing about players is, and I'm not saying this is the case, but it could be the case in certain situations, complacency bedding in. That cannot happen. You can't become complacent with the position that we are currently in. It's not acceptable. And these are young players that need to be given the impression of winning.
Who's that beautiful 100%. Man? Who's that beautiful 100%.
Man? Thomas Tuchel was waiting for this Chelsea decision on Pochettino. He feels his mission isn't done at Chelsea. And he also mentions in the tweet later on, because I read his actual tweet, that loose talks have been had between Tuchel and the club.
Please.
And listen, I don't want that to happen.
Why not? Because it's not really...
Is that Florian Plettenberg?
I understand. Okay, we know Tuchel's not perfect. We know he's not the greatest thing ever, but there's no great manager out there where there's linked to Chelsea but Tuchel. Tuchel's probably the only serious manager we got left. Surely. I don't see what's wrong about having Tuchel. Tuchel knows how to get results. He's got a system. He knows how to get top 4. Every time he's at Chelsea, he's got top 4.
The problem is,
he's not really compete for the league, but this team ain't ready to compete anyway.
I don't disagree with everything you said, by the way. I don't actually disagree with anything you said, Chris. But the problem is, I go back to all the time, management. The problem is these guys are going to be here long term. The club is probably looking for a manager that can be a long term fit, right, and that can do the job that needs to be done, right. And I don't think Tuchel's going to be there for a long time. He always crashes out. That's the problem. The problem with Tuchel is he's always crashing out, bro. And like. I don't think they want that, bro.
Can I say, by the way, like I hear the long-term thing you just said. We're not doing that anymore. I'm not hearing long-term anymore because we've not shown the capacity to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see it to trust it and believe it.
Yeah,
we're not a long-term club.
Yeah, and the thing that Joel makes a good point by that Tuchel meant buying players want to leave ASAP. So. The thing is, I hate to say this, Tuchel's next job is where he's gonna have the crazy crash out. By the way, I just don't want to be at my club again. I don't want it to be again.
I don't know
I'm
if that's down to Tuchel, by the way, because a lot of coaches don't want to go to Bayern because there's probably some
No.
serious issues before Tuchel.
But no.
That club was
But
falling.
the reason why he initially got sacked at Bayern was because of the management problems he was having. He had like half the team was against him. Literally, he had the
Wait,
whole squad, a
Wait,
whole side against him.
Tuchel sacked from who?
Yeah.
Wait.
Tuchel got sacked because he had half the
Young
squad
for
against him.
Chelsea.
No, at Chelsea and at Bayern.
Kind
Both.
of
I know.
both, yeah.
Did he get sacked at Bayern because apparently they
Chris,
wanted to keep
Chris,
him and he
no,
rejected him?
No. They sacked him in like January, and they were like, okay, they basically announced we're sacking you, but you can stay till the end of the season. We're just going to
But then
hire
they
as a
wanted to
manager.
keep him.
Yeah, but that was way afterwards, bro.
Because they flip flopped, and it's a mess of a club right now. I'll be real.
I don't think that's down to Tuchel though.
They're getting into Vincent Kompany. You mad?
Yes. Yeah. Big up to my guy, my boss. I read your comment, bro. We're gonna get to it in just a moment because we're just finishing off this too cool talk. But going back to Mr. I can't say his name on YouTube because it's my channel now, so I have to chill out. Yeah, Mr. Tuchelivan, yeah. The reality of him, yeah, is that, and I'll say this again, the management is going to be a big problem. Now, you could say because Chelsea has a very young squad now, there's not really that many older players. There won't be that many guys that will be like, necessarily against him, if that makes sense. But then by that same token, you can make the same argument when he had that Chelsea squad. So, I don't know, man. At the end of the day, man, Tuchel, man, the best saying I always had, never go back to your ex. That's just the best way to put it, man.
You could say that,
Don't
but
need that.
who else is out there, man? Who else is out there? Is
So
anyone better than your ex?
obviously, this is why
Chris, we have a list, but and
We have a list of mediocre.
Well, yeah. Listen, we're not saying that we agree with the list. We're just saying that's the list. And Tuchel's not on it.
That's the list, Chris. I don't know what to tell you, bro. Chris, I don't know what to tell you, my friend. But like, listen, we gotta get to that list because there's even more guys.
I was just gonna say something outrageous.
So this is why I was waiting. My boss 05. Hansi Flick is interested in taking up the Chelsea vacancy. Now, you know my thoughts, Chris, on Hansi Flick. He's not great, bro. That again. I implore you, and my boss 05. Go to Amazon Prime. The Germany Qatar, documentary is amazing. Well done. You will understand everything, bro. Love and trust. Literally, it will put it to you in no further context on like his managerial style and how it doesn't click. That's what I have to say when it comes to
I must ask though, would you take him over these potential names?
I mean, probably not the worst.
If push comes to shove, I would have to take him. If I don't get Sebastian Hoeneß,
because that's where I'm at.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at too. Yeah.
If I don't get Sebastian Hoeneß, then Flick, no.
I'm not taking.
Things though, Fabrizio saying that Hoeneß is staying at Stuttgart.
He's saying that he rejected Bayern. Just because he rejected Bayern doesn't mean that
No, but there was a quote within that said he'd like to stay at Stuttgart.
But if he'd like to stay at Stuttgart until Chelsea comes knocking and maybe gives him an offer, he can't refuse.
I mean, we can dream, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Fair enough, bro. But I don't know, man. I saw that documentary on him, and it changed my view, the way I view him. But we move. Well, according to Matt Law, Chelsea have no plans to go back for Thomas Tuchel, Antonio Conte, or Jose Mourinho. So that's Chris's 3 girlfriends gone. You know what I mean?
Wait, sorry?
Wait, Chris loves Conte.
Chris loves Conte.
I like Conte, but I wouldn't.
You know what?
No.
You don't like.
I
know this guy. I know you, Chris. I know you better than anyone, big man. I know, yeah. If Conte was available,
what's my middle name?
Would you take him over the current crop?
What's my middle name?
If Conte... You know what?
You know me,
yeah. Listen, you know what? Yeah. Okay. So Pies, yeah, he says, Poch was the reason we lost 5-0 to Arsenal and Liverpool's kids beating us 1-0. As soon as Poch played for penalties, I knew some of the fans were Poch out. I agree, bro. And that's something I agree with too. Now, Pies is reporting from Matt Law's article further that Chelsea want a manager with a possession-based brand of football, ability to mount their squad into being able to control matches and also remain defensively stable, which is, again, what we've always asked for. And this is where the issue for me begins, by the way, yeah. Which is that breaking Chelsea's next manager will be under pressure to deliver UCL football and compete for trophies. Now, this is where for me, yeah, with the current this is where it becomes the issue, right? With the current crop, which you're gonna get to, by the way, there's so many tweets here that it's taking me a long time to get through. But again, with the current list they have, yeah, this is gonna be crazy pressure on that guy. I can't lie to you. I wouldn't be surprised if hopefully we get the Europa League done on Sunday via Man City, right? Or even the Conference League. They're gonna be told you must. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be if buts and maybes. You must, bro. I'm telling you. Yo, stop trolling, man.
You know what? I'm gonna say it again. Tuchel could say we get Europa League. Tuchel wins that, and we get top 4. Tuchel could do it. I don't know what other manager can do it. So
I agree with you that Tuchel probably could do that fast, by the way. I agree.
Yeah, I think he could win Europa League, by the way, with the squad.
Yeah, he could. There's no. I don't think. I don't think
he won it with Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, and Mason Mount up top. I think he can do it with Cole Palmer, Jackson, whoever is the left winger.
With Stanley and Stewart, we're looking for the new manager. Well, listen, with Stanley and Stewart, it seems that they're in. I'll be honest. It seems more than likely that they're probably in last chance saloon. I'll be honest. This is probably his last chance saloon, by the way.
Well, things I need to actually hear that though, because the club has been building the structure below them. They're based. With Stanley and Stewart, no, sorry, not below them. With Stanley and Stewart are the foundations of the structure. Based on they're hiring people to work for them specifically, and so you can't really change it after that. Or if you want to change it, it's going to be very drastic.
Yeah, see. See, me and my bastards agree. We just don't go back to your ex, bro. And again, Tuchel again is a cup manager. I don't want us to be a cup manager. I think if anything, you want to build a team that's going to be able to be both a cup team and be able to compete in the league. You want both. You can't have just a guy that's going to do one of each, right? You can't have a guy that's going to be doing one of each, because then that becomes problematic. By the way,
you need the league. The league has to come first for me, because first of all, you need to. First of all, I don't know about everyone else, but I'm not fussed about cups like FA Cups and Carabao Cups. Like that, that's a good bonus to end your season with. It's like, we had a good season and we got this. But the main aim needs to be, first of all, we need to be in the top 4 so that we can be in the Champions League to try and win that. And second of all, we need to be trying to win the Premier League. Those are the major trophies that this club has built its recent history on trying to compete for. And anything less than that is lowering the standards.
100%, bro, 100%. And I also want to add this point. Yeah, obviously we spoke about Thomas Frank. It's under consideration, of course. Like the Fabrizio comment, yeah, about he wanted a new contract, which makes sense because he only had 1 year left on his deal. They referred to a long-term project and wanted a say in transfers. Like he knew that was not going to happen to begin with. So why is he asking for it?
Well, someone should show him his contract and remind him that he signed a contract as our head coach, not as our manager. The two are different. Those two are different things, by the way. Head coach and manager, they're not the same role. Head coach coaches the team. The manager coaches and is involved in the transfers. And I'll tell you what, in the Premier League, there's not many managers left. The only one I know of is Arteta. That's it. Pep's not a manager. He's a head coach.
Exactly.
Wait, Pep's not a manager?
No, he's the head coach.
Oh. There's the only manager in the league right now is Arteta, I think, as Oliver put it out.
But Pep has control pretty much a lot of shit.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
He chooses his players.
Chris, he didn't know. Chris, there's a quote recently. Pep did not know who Stefan Ortega was before they signed him.
He doesn't have control, I don't think, of literally every player comes in. But he has the control, like, for example, he wanted to get rid of Joe Hart. He got Bravo. Bravo was not good enough. He got rid of Bravo and got Edison. He wanted to keep getting rid of a keeper until he got a new keeper. That is just an example. That's why I thought, like, he is some sort of a manager. He has somewhat of a say.
The thing I'll say to that is, though, that was probably the Joe Hart thing and the goalkeeping. That was probably a long-term vision from the sporting staff at Manchester City, because you've got to remember, before Pep got there, Man City hired the Barcelona staff from the Pep Golden era. They hired the sporting directors and the staff that built and maintained Pep's Barcelona team. So they would have, the whole idea for years was to get Pep. So they hired his sporting team, and they would have known that Joe Hart wasn't the ball-playing goalkeeper that Pep needed. So that would have been a plan for years.
Okay, maybe, yeah. Forgot about that type of what they did anyway.
There are very few managers that ask for specific names, and I'll be honest, when it does happen, you get what you get with Jurgen Klopp in 2022 when you're buying guys like Darwin Núñez and Cody Gakpo, and you're loaning in Arthur Melo. Managers head coaches don't have good talent ID. It's very rare that you get managers head coaches that have good talent ID. That's why you have sporting directors and you delegate the responsibilities.
100%. And I also want to add that at the end of the day, man, managers should really and truly be asking for guys that can have a certain play style that's going to help to fit into the team and into the vision that he wants to bring to the football club. That's what you should be asking for, not for specific players, because then you run into the issue of if you ask for specific players, then how do they fit in? What happens if they are bust? What happens if they're like a really expensive player too? And maybe you can go for someone that's a little bit more less in the market for a cheaper price that can do the job for you as good as him.
The biggest one, what if you sack the manager? That's the biggest one. That's how we ended up with that Frankenstein squad that Bodie.
Bro, we had the Frankenstein. Remember, you're right, bro. When we had Conte, Lampard, we had 3 squads, by the way, in one. 3 of them, 3 squads in one, by the way.
You even had some players from Mourinho.
Even Mourinho's era as well. I forgot about Mourinho's era too.
Yeah,
that's how bad it was, bro.
Yeah. Oh god.
We're still dealing with the Tuchel era with Lukaku, by the way, and Malang Sarr.
I mean, that was not Tuchel's first choice though as a striker. He actually would.
No. You're not getting the point, Chris. Chris, you're not getting the point. I'm not saying it's Tuchel's. I'm just saying that we still have players from that era that are not going to be able to fit us. That's the point I'm trying to make, Chris.
Well, yeah, you could say obviously Sterling's why he wanted Sterling.
Even Sterling,
true,
yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
That's true. I agree, Chris.
You also look at
Kukureya's another one.
You also look at Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard. We still got Ziyech Chilwell.
Still got Chilwell on the books.
I mean, to be fair, Ziyech looks like a done deal. So thankfully, but still got Chilwell.
But he still got a deal about 2 left backs in Chilwell and Kukureya, who they even tried to move Kukureya, by the way, last season. And no one wanted him, unless United wanted him on loan.
United wanted to have him on loan anyway.
Yeah,
they were going to take him until we cut-tied him.
I'm thank God United didn't get him. I want to keep Cucurella for next season.
Right,
this will be, by the way, I can't lie to you.
We did the whole season with Chilwell and Cole as left backs. Oh my god!
I can't lie to you, boys. This might actually, by the way, change the dynamic for Ian Maatsen. By the way. We might actually keep him,
But he's got a buyout clause.
Yeah, but no one's gonna. But we can. Just because he has a buyout clause.
How much does the buyout cost? 35 million.
31.
31 million.
That's so cheap.
But
the thing is, Dortmund are stingy. They're such a stingy.
Did any club buy him for that?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Chris. The release clause is open to anyone, and here's what I'm thinking: is Dortmund are stingy. And by the way, if they pay that clause, that's their record transfer. So that's kind of in a nutshell, that's how stingy that club is. And they actually tried to.
I'm thinking United might look at him.
Maybe.
If I was United, I'm buying Maatsen.
The thing for me, again, the thing for me is they can break the release clause, but if the player doesn't want to go there, he won't sign a contract.
If he has to accept it,
So for me,
humans have
whoever the new manager is has a very high chance of being able to get Maatsen to stay at the club.
I'll tell you what as well. I mean, I think it depends on how much we want to keep him as well. Because I know us as fans, we're satisfied and we see that he's in a Champions League final. You got to remember, at the end of the transfer window, Burnley bid for him and we accepted it. So that's got to come into the.
Remember, he only had 1 year left on his deal. By the way, remember that one.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, mate. The thing is, he only signed a short-term contract extension anyway. It was a very short-term one. It was just to add the. It was only so he'd go out on loan and stay at the club if Dortmund didn't buy him, and also because he demanded a release clause. or else he was going to run out his contract.
Fair enough. I'm just gonna. Chelsea won the league, which is 7 years ago after JT Farrell. The last time Chelsea won the league I was in year 6 at the time. Bloody hell. Sebastian Hoeneß is highly rated internally at Chelsea, but he already said no to buying job, as he always said he wanted to stay at Stuttgart. Again, we'll see what happens there. Chelsea will be really busy this summer. 1 to 2 centre backs, maybe a GK, a striker. Man, I'm not really fussed about that right now. I'm surprised there's no left back though in that discussion, but we move.
I've seen versions of that where left backs have been included, so I don't know, but I'm happy with most of that. I mean, goalkeeper. I've made my point clear on goalkeeper. Go and get me Stefan Ortega. I think
Edison's available, by the way. I don't know if you heard the news.
Who?
Edison,
The keeper.
Yeah,
the keeper Edison. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, bro. I just saw it recently that he's gonna be. What's it called? He's available. So just thought I'd just let you guys know.
I don't know how old he is, but I'm taking him.
I think he's in his late 20s.
Okay, the thing with Edison, we know he's not always the greatest shot stopper.
Big up, Jez, bro. Big up, bro.
He's not the worst shot stopper, but he's very good on the ball as well.
I think he's an underrated shot stopper. Like he was before everyone was saying, "Oh, he's bad." I think it's kind of tipped over. But I think it's kind of tipped over the point now where he's now underrated.
Probably because a lot of people are not rating the guy, and I think he is a good. He is top 2 keeper in the Premier League. Okay, he's not near Alisson's level, but yeah.
People have to look the way he performed in that Champions League final. I know Lukaku had a stinker, but he still had plenty of shots from other players to save, and he did a fine job.
Yeah, Martinez as well. Yeah. I'll bring him. I think all you guys will bring him. 50 million.
Oh, fair enough, Jez. Fair enough, Jez.
Well, the thing is, if we're going for a possession style manager, then a guy like Edison's perfect.
Most managers want that now.
He's exactly what they want because he's better on the ball than both Sanchez and Petrovic.
Plus, it'd be good for Petrovic to learn off him, maybe. Yeah,
probably. You'd actually learn a lot. Yeah.
Edison's an experienced keeper on the ball. He can teach Edison a few things, maybe, for sure.
That's actually true. So listen, Thomas Frank has been discussed internally. Oh, this is actually what I wanted. Chelsea want to build a Javi Alonso type project. They want a manager who likes position a team that can lead the game. All right, fair enough.
Frank Lampard.
Eddie Howe is another one. According to Jacob's Ben, Eddie Howe. But I don't know, man. He's not leaving Newcastle, so I don't know why we would be linked to them.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's not leaving, is he?
No.
I mean, I wouldn't even take Eddie Howe. By the way, I already said since Potter, I don't want an English manager, unless he's actually proven.
I don't know, Jez, man. I don't know, man. I don't know, bro.
we don't.
Yeah, Pochettino told Todd Bowley on a phone call that he felt the situation might further deteriorate if he stayed. Chelsea do not see Pochettino as a strategic fit. All right, fair enough. Well, that's what they had to do.
So why did you hire him?
He lied. He lied to him.
You must have lied to them, bro. That's the only thing I can think of, bro. That makes sense. Honestly, man, there's no other thing that makes sense to me, bro.
I need to hear from both sides though, because have we lied to him? That could be the case. I'm not ruling it out.
He lied to us. Where he said we go compete for trophies and
just out of fairness. Yeah, but that's like fan semantics though, Chris. I'm talking about like in the interview. Just out of fairness, I'm not going to rule out the possibility that we lied to him because I just don't know. Yeah,
that's true.
I don't know. I did not hear the conversation.
Names linked reliably since statement: McKenna, Frank, Howe, Michelle, Maresca, and Honeb.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I just don't want to react to that. I've got another question that no one's asking about Thomas Frank, and I've been asked this question ever since we were first linked to him. So, this link we have to Ruben Amorim, or the links died because now we're all saying that that he's not a tactical fit or he's not a fit for our profiles, right? You guys seen that? Guys?
I don't think I saw it.
Okay, so people are saying that we're not going for Amorim anymore.
Oh my
because-
god. What the hell? Hey, read this comment before you go, Oliver, by the way.
Yeah,
Bedad Iqbali came armed with data in the end of season review. Negative data like missed big chances and failure to make set pieces count was presented to Poch. So Jackson said Poch. Is that what we say? Jackson said Poch. What are we doing, man? Is that what we saying?
no. Hang on a minute. So okay, so who's reported that? That's Ben Jacobs. Okay, I take Ben Jacobs with a pinch of salt personally, but
fair enough.
For the sake of the discussion, I'm going to assume that's true. How is Nicholas Jackson or anyone for that matter missing big chances Pochettino's fault? There is a different stat that you can use to criticise Pochettino, and that is big chances created. That's the bigger thing we need to look at, because, there are plenty of games where we haven't created enough, and we've been bailed out by individual brilliance. So that's ridiculous. But in terms of the set pieces, that's spot on, and that's why we've hired a set piece coach.
100%.
Remember, Pochettino didn't want he brought in his staff. He didn't include a set piece coach because he thought the players will bail me out on that one because I've got Disasi and stuff like that. No, it's not enough. Oh my days, that's one of the most jarring things. No set piece coach. The last guy that did that in the Premier League was Brendan Rodgers, and he got relegated with Leicester.
What? Apparently, according to Alex Goldberg, Poch wanted to use Enzo as a rotational player. Apparently,
I kind of see it.
I
kind of see it.
I see that. Yeah.
He said,
no wonder they wanted him. No wonder they wanted him gone. Then it makes sense, bro. It makes sense that they're like, you're not even playing the guy we paid the most amount of money for.
And again, this is where I have to question the sporting directors. How have you hired a guy that isn't going to play one of your prized assets and is going to build your team around a guy you're trying to sell?
It makes it even worse that he literally was like, I prefer Gallagher over Enzo. It actually makes it worse. Yeah,
I mean, I think we see it because he talked about him forcing himself. Well, they forced him to use big names and shit like that. I remember the report seeing that and stuff. So that might be actually true because he felt he had to use Enzo. That's why we saw Enzo play as a 10. That's why we saw Enzo play as a left back.
Then Poch is a pussy.
I mean,
that's what that tells me. I'm sorry.
I think we figured that out.
You know, by the way, this also, it brings up a bigger question of no wonder, no wonder Enzo was playing on the wing and everything like that. It actually brings up a bigger question of if you were seeing that he was doing this early on, why was he not sacked?
It's not just that though, Ahmed. Do you remember early in the season? I'm talking September, October, and November time. Enzo was always the first guy to get subbed off at the 60th minute. Always the first guy, regardless of whether he was having a good game or not. He was always the guy to come off, regardless of the state of the game, regardless of his own performance.
Bro, honestly, this actually just makes the decision to hire Poch worse because, why were you not thinking about this, bro?
The questions have to be asked. I don't see enough of it on Twitter or anywhere.
You have to ask the question. But because for me, it just makes it look stupid. By the way, it makes it look stupid. Why were we not thinking about this? Why weren't we thinking in our head? You know what I mean? Yeah, I saw that Amari Hutchinson, he's gonna go to either Ajax or Feyenoord. Listen,
Chelsea,
as long as you put a buyback clause or a right for first refusal to that deal, I don't mind. Again, sadly, Amari is always gonna be pure profit. I hate to say it like that.
I'll be real. It makes sense as well. As good as he's been in the Championship, we have signed Kendrick Pyers, and in the last week we've also signed Esteval, and they're both coming into the first team squad. No loans. They're coming in 2025. That's only in a year's time. There's realistically no room for him. As annoying as that is, because it would have been nice to see him get a chance, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles at the moment.
I mean, we're seeing ourselves sign more and more wingers, young wingers. So it's going to happen, right? It was I don't know how good Hutchinson is.
And we still got Angelo. We still remember.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Hutchinson is just.
man. Angelo, man, he might be gone next season, bro.
You think
might be gone. He might be off, man. Yeah, he might be gone, man.
We just signed another young winger.
I mean, listen though, if we can get a profit on Angelo, then that's our strategy working. That's our model, our clear leg model. That's it working.
I mean, it's all about profit.
Yes, but that's just smart though. Like,
no, I agree. You can't keep every fucking player at Chelsea.
For me, it actually makes. I think it actually makes it look worse because the fact that he was just trying to get the best out of Gallagher and not the best out of his own the number one player is actually kind of disgusting. By the way, is that what I mean? How can you do that to our number one player? How can the reality is we should be really building the team around Enzo and Caicedo, and we were compensating for a whole other guy that he just decided to like more than the actual players.
But again, man, you're hiring a guy who's in his peak in the Premier League was playing a midfield of Sissoko and Wanyama. This
is so bad, by the way.
This is tactical profiling errors that we're doing right now by hiring this guy.
This is actually sackable offense, by the way. That alone is a sackable offense. Let alone anything else, but that is a sackable offense. Honestly, sackable offense. I can't believe that's happened, by the way. I can't believe they let that happen. Disgraceful behavior, man. Absolutely. I can't believe it, bro.
And just on Enzo as well, playing him through the hernia as well. You're going to try and convince me that Poch knew nothing about the hernia, right? If you hated him so much, let him heal.
Oh, look who's here.
Right.
Dun. What are we saying, Brian? Is it Brian?
It's just, bro.
Sorry.
Oh, Lord. Hey, bro.
You had the same Abby. You have a similar Abby, bro.
Don't compare me to that Nigerian, man. Never again, man. As a Ghanaian, as a Ghanaian, bro, you offended me right there. But nah, bro, I just jump on, bro, because you see this Enzo thing here. You see this Enzo thing with the squad player thing. What did I tell everybody in the summer when you guys were asking, obviously, what does Pochettino like and shit like that? I said the first player that he definitely doesn't want to use is Enzo, and I could tell that from a while away. So how can some random guy from Twitter and YouTube tell you that a Pochettino would never use an Enzo, but they couldn't recognize that? Like, these are the things where I say, even right now, like, I look at the guys that you guys link to here in terms of your manager profiles, and I'm like, every manager plays completely different to the other manager. There's maybe there's some sort of ideas who, in terms of like the philosophy, they come from the same way, but all of them play completely different. And then you obviously have guys like Frank and Eddie Howe who play completely different to everyone else, who play it more. Like, if you guys hire Thomas Frank, you might as well sell Enzo. I'll be wrong.
Jess, this is the question I was asking, because apparently, according to reports, we're no longer in Ruben Amorim because apparently he doesn't fit the squad. So tell me how Thomas Frank fits this squad. Someone tell me. Thomas Frank has like a defensive midfield that is like all 6'5", and he plays hoofball. How is that a progressive possession-based manager that you're looking for? Apparently,
exactly, because I was thinking with the Thomas Frank thing here, it's like, how do you literally hire just a manager who would never use an Enzo, and you're going back to it again? You're doing the same. Like, this is what I'm trying to say. It's like, see, I know Chelsea fans they hate Poch, thank God he's gone and all that, and don't get twisted. Looking from the outside and what things that he has done wrong, I 100% agree with it. I don't even try to do any sort of playing devil's advocate or anything like that. I think he deserves to get sacked, considering even though he got Europe. But this is the main thing, though. What do you do to rectify all the mistakes that he has done, and also the previous years that will happen under Potter, and then trying to implement it into this team that you guys currently have with the new manager? And I'm like, I'm looking at all these reports. I'm like, I'm just confused what's going on, to be honest. Like, shouldn't it be that you sack a manager and then you kind of have an idea already who you want?
I feel like a lot of these guys that are getting mentioned are just getting mentioned for mention's sake, and they probably already have a guy linked. That's just my opinion.
But how confident are you though in it?
They did last time because of last year. Because the only reason why I would say that is because last year last year when they were looking for their manager, they were a bit. They weren't as this bad, if that makes sense. They were a bit more quieter. Maybe is that the right word? Because they were just doing the interviews in silence.
Like you had interviews, and then things happened in the interviews, and then those managers didn't want to join you anymore. So it's kind of like, and this is why I'm kind of like, what is this? What is the idea? Because like I said, I don't necessarily disagree with the notion that Pochettino shouldn't have been shouldn't have been. So I disagree with that. Like anybody who says that Poch shouldn't have gotten sacked, I don't really get it because you saw too many negatives to really makes valid points in my opinion to let him stay for another season. But the main thing is, what do you do afterwards? You can't because I said it already in the sarcasm GC because obviously you've been busy as well.
Of course, bro.
You guys can't go 3 summers, and fail it with 3 managers. Like you can even allow this Lampard thing or whatever because these guys were interims. But in terms of the actual head coaches, if you go back to back failures again, it's kind of like it's like, do these guys really know what they're really doing?
Exactly. And by the way, I agree with all. By the way, I think De Zerbi is going to be the one that comes into this football club. It just, for me, the way I'm seeing it, is that they're just I think this is what they're doing. They're just throwing a lot of names out there in the media to hide whoever their real target is. Because they did a similar thing last time, even with Poch, where they were saying a bunch of different names, and then Pochettino came out towards the end when we were in the finalists and region. So it would make sense if that's what they're doing, to be honest.
I've got one question about De Zerbi, though, but not about how good is he for Chelsea. It's the reason he left Brighton. I was watching the Football Terrace earlier, and they were telling Terry, maybe De Zerbi. According to Terry, and I haven't really been following the news on De Zerbi, so I'm going to trust what Terry's said on the Terrace. He said that De Zerbi left for the same reason that Poch has left, because of the lack of transfer control. So how does that make any sense?
I think isn't the thing with Brighton, if I'm not mistaken, the way I understood what was happening at Brighton was that he was losing his best players consistently, and I don't think he wanted that. Wasn't that the reason why?
From the video.
I thought that was what it was. Again, I might be wrong. You guys,
this is just me watching a YouTube video, so take it with a pinch of salt. But that's not the way you're saying it. That's not the way it was framed from what I heard. But I may be wrong. So
for me, it's like my thing with that is, if that was the case, it's kind of then De Zerbi is really stupid because Brighton is not their club where you keep your top players. It's just not going to happen. Them top players also did all the fuss to get away from Brighton too to get to those top clubs. So I don't really believe that. Obviously Oliver said about the YouTube video. Obviously, again, we don't know the reliability of the news as well. So it's kind of like this Zerbi thing was really strange. All of the sudden, Brighton coming out and saying, "Yeah, De Zerbi is going to leave at the end of the season." Like, I don't know.
All right, there's this stuff I want to actually just show off quickly, which I just saw right now. That's been posted from The Guardian. So this is probably from Jacob Steinberg, by the way. He says that Chelsea had concerns over Pochettino's tactics, and before the end of season review, one well-placed source privately described his training methods as antiquated. So clearly,
wait. What's that? What mean?
Antiquated means old. It's antique. That's what it means.
Oh,
so that antiquated just means is like another way of saying like someone's method is like antique. Basically, antique is like an old stuff.
Of the past.
Of the past. Yeah, but what exactly? Was going on? What are you saying? Like, was he using equipment that he wasn't using? Like, again, like you're saying all these words.
No, I think his methods. Essentially, it's his methods, bro. They're talking about
the emphasis on running and stuff.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, again, what I say is like they should blame themselves. Make some research about the manager.
They should. That's all.
You hire.
Yeah,
exactly. Like they don't say like for me, it sounds like they were just going through managers and didn't even look like any sort of background. They looked at their CV and looked at what club they're working, not even actually looking at what they have done as managers in terms of maybe training, press conferences, how they're liking them, how they are in game. how are they, even just one-to-one, because like those guys probably have all that information, so it's not like we are just a common folk, like we are just some people out here talking about football. We don't know exactly what these managers doing outside of just coaching the football game.
I tell you what, in hindsight, it feels like a PR hire, because now the way they're running with this whole, we want a progressive possession-based manager. You know who fits that perfectly? That we were linked to when the Pochettino, when the negotiations were happening. That time's Postecoglou.
Exactly, Postecoglou.
But because Chelsea fans said who the hell was the Celtic manager, they backpedaled and went for the guy that everyone knows. And again, that's not me saying that Postecoglou is like the end game for any big club, but still, that's what you described.
Yes.
Yep.
That's why it's kind of like, that's what I said, like the ideas of what you guys are following, it's like it just feels all messed up, if you ask me. There's just no direction in terms of what it is. That's why I think that's the only thing that I give probably people that are Poch is that they just don't feel like these guys have a clue what they're doing, and they would just rather stay with Poch, because also how he ended the season. But I don't know, man. Like I don't really have. Obviously, I can't give a strong opinion because I don't watch Chelsea every single game, but I'm well aware because I had Poch as my manager before. I'm not surprised that these things happened this season, in my opinion. You could have like Barley or Tom Wally could have just ring me up, and I could have told you everything about this Pochettino guy.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Right.
Again. Well, Will, I don't think Thomas Frank's gonna happen. I will say this, by the way. I don't think it'll be Thomas Frank. I don't think it'll be McKenna, and I don't think it'll be Enzo Maresca. Those three,
If those three come in to replace Poch, you might as well just go and I don't know, start putting banners in the stadium. I'll be real. Do people know that Enzo? They're going.
No, because I know, like from what I've heard, he didn't have a great end to the season, if I'm not mistaken. No?
But he won the league and he wasn't even contention of manager of the year because he bottled like a 17-point lead.
Yeah, he did. It was getting bad. Like it was pretty much after he lost really Cassidy. It was like after January.
Yes, it was really bad. By the way, Blettenberg also just reported saying, being told from Coach Circa that Hansi Flick will not become new coach of Chelsea. 59-year-old is focused on other projects.
Thank God.
Okay.
Just saw that as well.
Lovely. All right, lovely jubbly. But I don't want a bold manager managing Chelsea.
Hey,
listen, Ten Hag, man. Ten Hag, just because Ten Hag's killed the bold manager market, it doesn't mean it's...
Hey, you know what, ironically, Arne Slot will actually fit the prescription of the manager that you guys are chasing.
And bro, this is what we've been talking about modern football and how clubs are run. The manager doesn't get control. Mm-hmm. Arne Slot is literally like the epitome of that, and he's about to go to Liverpool. And FSG are trying to copy our model, but like refine it in a way.
Yeah, right. The messy thing. Like, look at how smoothly this club how smooth. Like, obviously, they had this issue with Amrin, but then they moved on from Amrin into Slot. Slot, here we come to Liverpool, and Slot said, you know what, great opportunity for him, to go to a new club. Well, there's another factor as well. If you guys don't sort it out before the Euros,
I think I'm going to say it right now to you, but by the end of this week, we'll know who our manager is. I'm just going to tell you how it is. I feel like I already know.
By the end of the week.
By the end of this week, Chris, we will know who our manager is.
Yeah, end of the stream would have been crazy.
Because by the way, they've already been putting these through balls in since Sunday. So clearly, they've already been talking to people behind the scenes. So for me, it's more than likely they already have the guy. They have 2 or 3 people they were already looking at. They're gonna sort this out by the end of the week, and then we'll have a new manager.
The top 3 potential managers are. I'm curious.
I think probably De Zerbi is probably number 1. I know a lot of people aren't.
Doesn't have to be order. I'm just wondering which top 3.
Probably De Zerbi. Herner probably will be the other one, but I don't think he's gonna leave the club. So that's just my personal opinion. And then the last one, I'm not sure. I actually think Thomas Frank might be the last one.
You don't think Tuchel has a shout in there?
Tuchel has no shot. I'm telling you right now. He has no shot.
Is this your genuine opinion, or do you?
I'm not even being like a dickhead or anything like that.
Yeah,
like, I just think,
I know you. This one.
Yeah, because like from what I know, from what I've heard from a lot of people, the reason they left, them and Tuchel split up was not to do with football. Like it's to do with something else, which was crazy.
I mean, but that's the past. He went to rehab and everything, man. He's a better man.
Chris, chill out, big man. That's alleged. We don't know if it's that.
No. He did go to rehab.
No, no. This is alleged. We don't know, man. Again, we don't know.
I'm pretty sure we saw video.
Listen, PSA on this channel. We don't know anything.
He went to vacation to India. He went to vacation to India and had a great time and became a better man.
But that was but we don't know if that was for mental health.
Alleged stuff, but I'm just saying he went to India. For
it could be for mental health, Chris. It doesn't need to be.
Yeah, exactly. He's a better man after that, man, and he went to Munich.
Chris again. You know, one of the things that I always say, and I will always repeat, is that never go back to your ex. That's the one who I always have to, and that's it. But listen, guys,
you shouldn't have left her in the first time, man.
Well, then that's tough on you. There's a lot more fish in the sea. Listen, at the end of the day, guys, I think I'm gonna call it here. This is a pretty good stream, I have to say. Good thing to be back. I probably will actually be back tomorrow. With more managerial news. I might do a nice little video again. I'm thinking about getting back to the regular timing. I think this is the last month and a half I've been very depressed by Chelsea, so I was like, I don't feel it. But listen, we'll be back to the regular programming. Armin, what do you think about Fabregas? Fabregas, you know what? That's a good one. I had a conspiracy theory yesterday that I was telling you guys, by the way. Yeah, I was telling all about this conspiracy theory that maybe Fabregas is going to be the new manager. Oh my god, that's why I came to the training the other day. But no, that's too crazy. Even for me, that's too crazy. Even for me, man. But guys, thanks again for watching. As always, I've been your host with the most, the Bridge 258. Listen, keep the blue flag flying high, whatever you want to say, and we will be out of here quite soon. But listen, again, can tune in tomorrow. I'll probably have a video again ready for you guys by 7 or 8 p.m. ish. For you guys to watch and enjoy. But as always, I've been your host, Mr. Bridge 258. Dedicate your hearts. And hopefully Chelsea do not get McKenna, do not get Thomas Frank, and Enzo Maresca. Thank you very much.